Okay, guys, both of you know the rules. I want a clean fight. Protect yourself all the time and follow my commands all the time. Conocen las reglas, quiero una pelea limpia. Protéjanse todo el tiempo y sigan mis indicaciones todo el tiempo. When you hear this, 30 seconds left. Keep fighting, okay? Good luck. Touch your gloves.
Man, Germán Bochero taking on that man, Sanatali Toltayev. He of the Fighting Toltayev twins, basically the Kazakh version of the Charlos. His brother Samatali often gets confused for him. Both of them spectacular amateurs. Toltayev had some of the attention taken away from him by his brother, but is also just in a very deep amateur system where he's never quite broken through to being #1 or 2, so decided it'd be a very good idea to step into this tournament. He's just 2-0 as a professional, but believes he has the skills to go all the way. A nice right hand there for Bochero, who has 10 knockouts in his 10 professional victories. He hasn't fought in 13 months.
Talk about the luck of this draw. You got somebody who turned pro 10 months ago. Now you're fighting a 10-0 guy, 10 knockouts, who has a whole lot of experience in his 6 years.
He's a little bit wild here, Bochero, but look how smooth he is. He doesn't load up with his shots.
Go. Break. Step back.
For a new professional, I think Toltayev looks like a, he looks poised, he looks patient for a pro.
Yeah, and in his 2 professional outings so far, I mean, he's been taking some serious tests. His most recent win over Sardar Atakishiev in September of 2024. Atakishiev 11-1. First opponent he faced, 12-6-2. So he's not taking things easy, and nor should he. I mean, this is a man who won the Kazakh national title as a 19-year-old. You certainly have the skills to compete with fighters who are much more advanced or more experienced in the early stages of your pro career if you have that kind of pedigree.
You win that Kazakhstan national championship, that sort of makes you almost a world championship level fighter in the amateurs for sure. You're looking to get a medal in the world championship straight away. It's an awesome tournament because they're so well schooled and they all punch correctly.
And then you enter the pros as a grown man, 25, 26 years old, like Lomachenko. And you're able to take on stiffer competition early.
30-second horn seems to have emboldened Toltayev, who's just ripping some shots to the body. You see the face of Bochero saying, "No, nothing hurt me." Seconds tick away here in the opening round. Very interesting clash of styles here between Toltayev and Bochero. Round 2 underway. Sanatali Toltayev and Germán Bochero. Kazakhstan versus Venezuela. Here's our 4th fight of the day. Toltayev still very active on the amateur circuit as well, which is something you'll hear us say about many of the Kazakh and Uzbek fighters. And up until a certain point, basically they've decided that you don't really have to choose both. You can still collect that stipend from being a part of the national team, use the national training facilities, do all of that, and take professional fights when you get the opportunity.
He just fought an amateur fight 2 months ago.
Right.
It's madness.
And it is, right? How do you go back to that style and then come back and have a pro style?
Yeah, it's
2 totally different ways of fighting.
Just an absolute vocal dismissal there from Toltayev.
I wasn't impressed, was he?
And when you say loose earlier of Bochero, Barry, you're talking about how he's not as technical. He's like maybe wilder with his shots, wider.
I think a lot of South Americans, when they throw a shot, they commit. And because he's long, he was all smooth. And I mean, and that's a problem because that's a hard rhythm to read at times. You can see why he knocks people out. He gets you on the end of that shot. But also, if he misses, there's a problem. And Toltayev just brought that front foot a bit closer and got inside pretty much, and then just made Bochero feel a little bit smothered. And with that, you're tense up. When you tense up, you won't want to throw as many shots, because when you do, it tires you out.
Oh, good timing by Bochero.
Little drive-by uppercut there from Bochero.
Now he's moving around like Rigondeaux.
One of the curiosities here for Bochero is just what will he look like even in these rounds, round 2. I mean, he started his career with 8 straight first-round knockouts. And we saw him go 6 rounds before he scored the stoppage last time out over Orban Montano. But the question is, will that power carry, and what does Bochero look like if he has to win rounds boxing, particularly against a fighter as well-schooled as Toltayev?
I think if he has a target to hit, then I think he's fine because he'll commit and he'll go for it. But if he has to start thinking, all that processing things in your brain, it manifests into a physicality. It tires you out.
I think mentally he already made that transition in his mind, Bochero. He's saying, okay, now I have to box. You know, I hit this guy with hard shots. He's not going anywhere. And let me box now. Let me stay at a distance.
Yeah, he's taking a little off these shots. He's gotten away from the fastball, throwing the changeup, so to speak, just touching to the body of Toltayev, who rips a nice left hook downstairs.
He was trying to hit home runs with every punch in the first round.
Nice right hand to the body. That's a good round for Bochero.
So 2 judges have it for Bochero, well, 2 rounds for Bochero, and the other 1 apiece. That sounds about right.
Yeah, I think so. I mean, he had a good start in the first round, but I think Toltayev didn't have to win it. But the second round, yeah, it was certainly a Bochero round.
Yeah, so we were just handed the cards right here. So 1 judge has Bochero up 2 rounds,
right,
and then the other 2 judges have it even, as you see it on your screen now.
So it's the other way around than what he said.
Look at those scores and the way that this fight is developing, the different approaches of these fighters. It feels like a fight that could introduce that enhanced scoring system that we've been talking about.
I'm not gonna lie, I want to see that. I want to see how that works in the sport.
Bochero really controlling the pace of this round again here with that lead hand.
Toltayev's taking too long, isn't he?
Yeah, Toltayev not really showing a lot of urgency or trying new things to try to get to the inside here. Now he kind of sells out a little bit just to get in there.
He's doing the right thing, trying to walk him down, put him under pressure, but yeah, at some point you've got to let your hands go just before you get too close.
Good left hook on the inside there from Toltayev, but back comes Bochero with a chopping right hand of his own.
See, people look at pressure as walking forward. Pressure's only pressure if the other guy feels it. Otherwise, you are just walking forward.
Yeah, you know, I was going to point that out, Barry. That was a very cordial break there a moment ago.
Yeah.
You know, Toltayev kind of got to where he wanted to be, but nothing really happened. They just sort of gently broke. Now Toltayev trying to turn it up a little bit.
Pressure is only pressure if the other guy feels it. That was good.
Or if you're making a fighter do something they don't want to do, or quicker than they want to do. Right now, for vast portions of this round, Bochero has been able to do things on his own terms.
Especially when he's on the outside like this. I don't know why he keeps going on the inside. Bochero takes breaks by going inside, but he's not letting his hands go enough. And you're giving Toltayev a chance to, you know, to get those score up some points.
Round 4 now underway as Bochero starts off by flicking that jab to the body and then ripping a nice right hand to the body.
Long distance, Bochero looks beautiful. He looks effective.
Shots. Got that crouch stance there with that jab.
Good body work there from Toltayev. Toltayev putting a little extra zip on his shots now. You could hear the tenor in his corner. They clearly wanted to wake their fighter up a little bit.
Toltayev's doing exactly what he's supposed to do. If you're going to give up the distance like that, I'm going to let my hands go immediately.
It was just a little feint there before he came forward. And he fell for it, Bochero.
And looking back at the last couple of rounds, the question is how much of that good work that Bochero's been doing from long range, how much of that was because of him, how much of it is just kind of permitted by what Toltayev was not doing?
Yeah, I would argue a little bit of both, to be fair, I would say, but I'm not sure if he feels like he's no good in close, Bochero, and he wants to be. I don't think you're vulnerable at distance as well. That's the thing. You know, you should be there, but you know your hands are going to come out and they go longer to come back, and you're always worried someone's going to slide in and catch you if you're not used to doing that. I would imagine, obviously, 10 stoppages in 10 fights, that he's the guy who comes forward most of the time and bullies opponents. He has a good jab.
And he does some sneaky body work like he did there. At the end of that siege from Toltayev, there was still Bochero standing in there and landing to the body. They trade right hands there.
Good shot on it from Toltayev.
This is around the time now as we're past the midway point of this fight where on paper you would think that Toltayev, one of the best amateurs in the world still, might just start to have a few more ideas. And right now, he might have Bochero in a bit of trouble. Bochero trying to grab a hold of something, but Toltayev all over him. Bochero just defending. Yeah, to your point, Barry, there's only a handful of fighters that have been able to make the old mongoose defense work. Obviously, Archie Moore, the namesake of it, Dwight Muhammad Qawi, old George Foreman. You got to be a big puncher if you're going to pull that off.
45-year-old George Foreman, yes.
But I think that one's a lean over your front foot, bobbing, weaving. It's to sort of block to come forward.
Just an update on the scores now. So Bochero ahead on one scorecard, 39-37, but Toltayev ahead, 39-37 on the other two.
Yeah, the fight's certainly starting to swing in his favor. But when he shows a bit of urgency, Toltayev, he's far more effective.
All right, we're going to send it over to Claudia Trejos, who I believe was in the Bochero corner. Claudia, what are you hearing?
The first thing they're doing is tending to that small cut under the right eye. But the most important thing is they admitted to the fact that he is tired. There's very little gas left in that tank, and apparently it's the altitude that's taking advantage of him right now.
Oh, interesting. Thank you so much, Claudia. Yeah, rare that you'll hear a corner just flat out admit that their fighter is tired.
And like I said before, maybe that's the reason why he stops fighting from the inside and he goes inside. He doesn't do punches. And I said, it looks like he's resting when he's going inside. And that's exactly what it was. This is the second time tonight where we see a fighter who seems like they can control the fight, get winded, and the fight totally changes.
In the early going, it was very impressive, and still is, the fact that Bochero is ahead on one of the scorecards. I mean, this is a guy that didn't even win his own Colombian National Amateur Championship. Took bronze back in 2019. Been fighting a fairly low-level fighters back home in Colombia, hanging in here. with one of the best amateurs in the world today.
Both talking to each other. Which is pointless because they don't speak the same language. So.
Now 20 seconds of the round.
It's been a good round as well.
Bochero finding a reserve of energy, perhaps. Looks a lot more energized, but not after that.
Right in the temple, that left hook.
I'd like to see that.
Yeah, that
replay.
one not scored a knockdown, but perhaps we will go to an instant replay to investigate that. At least we will on the... I believe so. So we'll wait for the official word, but we believe that will retroactively be called a knockdown thanks to the WBC instant replay.
Wow.
All right, Claudia has verified, so it has been overturned. So that is a knockdown for Sanatali Toltayev at the end of round 5. And now we'll see if Bochero has been able to recover from what was indeed a knockdown and a 10-8 round.
Shot. Quite often, though, them sort of shots don't really hurt you. They just, your legs betray you, and you can't understand why.
Shaking your brain, hitting that temple.
A little uppercut there from Bochero. And we know he has power. He could potentially be dangerous while hurt. But this is a different looking Toltayev than the one we saw in the opening 2 rounds. Maybe it took a little while for the engine to get going, but now Toltayev looking like the fighter he was touted to be, as he is just haunting Bochero right now in the 6th and final round.
The last 2 or 3 rounds, he's been pretty good, hasn't he, Toltayev? Menacing, and every now and again, that injection of pace in his work has been fantastic.
Going back to the point you made about the Bochero defense, he keeps going back to this cross-arm defense, and it's temple shots that are badgering him as he gets clobbered with a leaping left hook from Toltayev.
He also stepped on his foot as well, so Bochero was trying to say, no, he stepped on my foot, that's why I went down. I think that punch had a lot to do with it as well.
Half a round for Toltayev to work with here if he wants to score the knockout. 2 knockdowns now scored for Sanatali Toltayev of Kazakhstan.
You got to throw the left hook here, Toltayev, but then throw the uppercut straight after.
Oh, it was right there. That left hook was there.
He's doing that right hand over the top. I think he ever got to bring the head up.
Big left hook there from Toltayev. Bochero trying to find some space in the ring, trying to fire back. He is out of sorts right now and got blasted with an uppercut there from Toltayev. An exhausted Bochero trying to fend off the Kazakh menace, Sanatali Toltayev.
Look how he turns into the shots.
And that is it. This one will be waived.
He looks like he leaps in, but usually with that, it'll be the whip at the shot. You don't have the weight, but he had weight in that punch. So that's more probably sliding than leaping.